Deep underground in an undisclosed location, Tread Comics proudly presents cartoon classics featuring Bosko. Bosko is an animated cartoon character created by animators Hugh, Harman, and Rudolf Ising in 1929. Bosko was the first recurring character in Leon Schlesinger's cartoon series and was the star of 39 Looney Tunes shorts released by Warner Brothers. He was voiced by Carman Maxwell, Johnny Murray, and Billie Thomas during the 1920s and 1930s, and once by Don Messick during the 1990s. In 1927, Harman and Ising were still working for the Walt Disney Studios on a series of live-action animated short subjects known as the Alice Comedies. The two animators created Bosko in 1927 to capitalize on the new talkie craze that was sweeping the motion picture industry. They began thinking about making a sound cartoon with Bosko in 1927 before even leaving Walt Disney. Hugh Harman made drawings of the new character and registered it with the Copyright Office on January 3, 1928. The character was registered as a quote-unquote Negro boy under the name of Bosko. After leaving Walt Disney Studios in early 1928, Harman and Ising went to work for Charles Mintz on Universal's second season of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. April 1929 found them moving on again, leaving Universal to market their new cartoon character. In May of 1929, they produced a short pilot cartoon similar to Max Fleischer's Out of the Inkwell cartoons, Bosko, the Talking Ink Kid, that showcased their ability to animate soundtracks, synchronized speech, and dancing. The short, plotless cartoon opens with live-action footage of Ising at a drafting table. After he draws Bosko on the page, the character springs to life, talks, sings, and dances. Ising returns Bosko to the inkwell and the short ends. This short is a landmark in animated history as being the first cartoon to predominantly feature synchronized speech. The Fleischer Studios song cartoon My Old Kentucky Home was the first cartoon to contain animated dialogue a few years earlier. This cartoon set Harman and Ising apart from early Disney sound cartoons because it emphasized not music, but dialogue. The short was marketed to various people by Harman and Ising until Leon Schlesinger offered them a contract to produce a series of cartoons for the Warner Brothers. It would not be seen by a wide audience until 71 years later in the year 2000 as part of Cartoon Network's specials Toonhead, The Lost Cartoons, a compilation special of rare materials from the W.B. Turner archive. Schlesinger saw the Harman Ising test film and signed the animators to produce cartoons at their studio for him to sell to the Warner Brothers. Bosko became the star vehicle for the studio's new Looney Tunes cartoon series. Bosko wore long pants and a derby hat, and he had a girlfriend named Honey and a dog named Bruno. He was sometimes accompanied by an orphan cat named Wilbur and an orphan antagonistic goat, particularly in the earlier cartoons. The role of Bosko was to serve as a cartoony version of Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer from 1927. According to Ising, he was initially supposed to be an ink spot sort of thing. He was not conceived as either a human or an animal, though he behaved like a little boy. According to Leonard Maltin, Bosko was a cartoon version of a young black boy who spoke a southern dialect of African American vernacular English. He cites an example of a phrase from Bosko's Holiday with the intermediate drawl, I should have done like picnics. From his first Looney Tunes outing, Sinking in the Bathtub, Bosko would star in 39 musical films, one of which was not released. His cartoons were notable for their generically weak plots and their abundance of music, singing, and dancing, though there were exceptions, such as Bosko the Doughboy in 1931. These were the early days of sound cartoons, and the audience were enthralled simply to see the characters talking and moving in step with the music. In terms of animation, the shorts are on par with Disney shorts of the same period. Harman and Ising were allowed production costs of up to $6,000 per cartoon. However, during the same period, Disney was spending around $10,000 per cartoon. The smaller budgets forced Harman and Ising to recycle footage much more often in terms than Disney did. In 1933, Harman and Ising broke with the Warner Brothers over budgetary disputes with Schlesinger. Having learned from Walt Disney's experiences with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, they had carefully kept all rights to the Bosko character and took him with them. The two found work with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, where they launched a Happy Harmonies cartoon series. At first, Bosko appeared in his original design, and some of the old animation from the Looney Tunes series was even reused in those Happy Harmonies that featured Bosko. However, after only 2 cartoons, the character was redesigned into an identifiably black boy, similar in appearance to Inky and Little 8-Ball, with an overactive imagination. This redesigned Bosko, who many considered to be a different character altogether, in spite of having the same name, only starred in 7 negatively received cartoons before Harman and Ising discontinued the character. Bosko cartoons were packaged with other Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies to be broadcast in various television markets during the 1950s. For instance, Skipper Frank showed Bosko along with Daffy Duck, Egghead, and Porky Pig on Cartoon Carousel, his hour-long after-school cartoon program on KTLA-TV in Channel 5 in Los Angeles. Bosko cartoons were later aired on Nickelodeon as part of the network's Looney Tunes programs, beginning in 1988 and ending in 1992, when the network pulled all black and white shorts out of rotation to make room for more recent color cartoons featuring more popular Warner characters. Bosko appeared in a 1990 episode of the television series Tiny Toon Adventures, titled Fields of Honey. In a parody of the then-current film Field of Dreams, a mysterious voice leads Babs Bunny to build a theater that shows nothing but cartoons of Bosko's girlfriend, Honey, after being told about Honey by the Acme University mysterious Vault Keeper. Babs does so, and the resulting laughter from the audience rejuvenates the aged and ailing Honey. The laughter also rejuvenates the Vault Keeper, who is revealed to be none other than Bosko himself, as well as the source of the voice. The cartoon depicts Bosko and Honey as dog-like, funny animals similar to the lead characters of the later television series Animaniacs, presumably so as not to offend viewers with the original black-faced characteristics. After his appearance in Tiny Toon Adventures, Bosko would be seen very infrequently. The character was last seen in a portrait in the 1996 movie Space Jam, this time in his original form. He would also appear in the original form in the Animaniacs cartoon The Girl with the Googly Goop, in which he is seen parking his car. He was also seen in a Futurama opening in Sinking in the Bathtub at the part where he runs off a cliff from the car with Honey in it. The majority of the cartoons are available on VHS and DVD in the uncensored Bosko series from Bosko Video. In the year 2003, Warner Home Video officially released the initial pilot film Bosko the Talk Inc. Kid as an extra on their Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 1 DVD box set. Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 3 also includes the first Looney Tunes short, Sinking in the Bathtub, which originally introduced Bosko and Honey to audiences in 1930 as an extra. Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 6 also includes several Bosko films on a disc officially devoted to Bosko in the early 1930 characters. All the Bosko cartoons subject to copyright remain owned by the Warner Brothers, as are the original film elements of those cartoons that have fallen into the public domain. The WB cartoons under the direct ownership of the studio itself, and WB also owns the MGM cartoons through a subsidiary of Turner Entertainment's company. Warner had acquired rights to these characters himself, allowing his appearances in the 1990s to happen. Now, the Warner Brothers and Turner are all owned by the conglomerate AT&T. Bosko was a unique character, unique for his time, and it will remain to be seen whether he will be seen yet again.